Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. Good time to be a horror movie fan. In the last 3 weeks, we've had three major horror movies released, and me and my wife went to see each one in the movie theaters. The first one was The Holmes, then we saw Together, and then last night we went and saw Weapons. I'm going to do a review of each one, and at the end, I'll rank them. So, The Holmes stars Pete Davidson. I have never been a fan of Pete Davidson, didn't really care for him on Saturday Night Live. But he's fine in this movie, basically plays himself. And who he plays is a troubled foster child, gets in trouble with the law, and as part of a court-ordered community service, gets a job at a retirement home. And as you would expect in a horror movie, the retirement home is filled with some really strange characters who are staying there, as well as the people running the place. And he's also told, never go to the fourth floor of the retirement home. So there's your plot. And it's a typical horror movie plot, but it's good. This movie in general got the worst reviews, so I kind of went into it with very little expectations. And I think that helped a lot because I was really pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed it. It even had like a red herring in it. I haven't seen that in a while. You know, a red herring is like they send you it's like a false plot diversion that's you think is going to go this way that actually makes sense, but it doesn't go that way. And it was actually enjoyable for me to see that happen because it was the way I thought it would go, and it didn't go that way. And that was good. It's a good plot device. Anyway, the movie is totally enjoyable. I am not giving away any plot except that the ending is so over the top and so crazy that you just sit there with a big smile, take it in. It's like being on a roller coaster. Is it a great movie? No, but it's a silly and fun popcorn movie, and a lot better and more enjoyable, I found, than what most people are saying. And I don't even like Pete Davidson. So I give it 3 stars for good. The following week, we saw Together, which stars Dave Franco and Alison Brie. They are a real live married couple, and they carry this movie. It's basically, to a certain extent, it's like a two-person movie. And they just inhabit the good and the difficulties of being a couple in love and fighting and trying to get through things. It's an acting tour de force by both of them. They move to the countryside, and while hiking, they accidentally fall into like this cave. And let's just say that what happens in that cave changes their life in a huge way. The movie's kind of reminiscent in a certain extent of The Thing. I even remembered things like Altered States. If you're an old horror movie fan, you might remember that. But it throws in some religion aspects. It's really, really graphic, man. It's a body horror film. And it just worked so well. I absolutely loved Together. I give it 4 stars for excellent. The last one we saw was last night, Weapons, from the director of Barbarian. That's Zach Cregger. And if you remember my review of Barbarian when that came out, the critics loved it. And I thought it was good until the ending, and I hated the ending. I hate a tagged on, happy, unrealistic ending, and Barbarian had that for me. So, like Barbarian, the critics are tripping over themselves. This is the best horror movie in 10 years, scariest movie ever, and all of this kind of stuff. But I've seen the trailer a bunch of times, and I thought the trailer looked absolutely great. So I was pretty psyched to go see this movie. And we saw it last night, and all I gotta say is frustration for me. Again, kind of like Barbarian. It's got a great plot idea. I'm not going to give away much of anything, but 17 out of 18 children out of one classroom go missing. They have the Ring cameras, and you can see they run out of their house at exactly 2:17 a.m., these 17 kids, and they run like that with that weird kind of gait. It's kind of creepy, and they're all missing. And that's the plot device. Josh Brolin plays the father of one of the missing children. The teacher is Julia Garner. She is excellent in it, and she just carries her role. I loved the first half of the movie. The first half of the movie was less a horror movie and more like a mystery thriller. And I thought it was great, because you're really trying to figure out what's going on, what happened. Everybody's frustrated, and they're blaming the teacher, and that the police are involved to a certain extent, everybody in the community, how people turn on everybody. It was all really great. But then when it started veering to the horror movie side, and the missing child's name is Alex, and his aunt comes in, and then I just was starting to, there was some really big plot holes watching this movie. My wife felt the same way. We were like, how does nobody see this? Just really big chunks of the plot that just didn't really make sense, or would just ended and there's no follow-up on it. And I found that really frustrating. I got to tell you also, this had the worst police investigation I've ever seen in my life. Now, yeah, maybe it's a small town, but in real life, 17 out of 18 kids are missing. You're going to have the FBI. You're going to have professionals coming in. And this is the worst investigation. There are such obvious things. I mean, I got a big plot. I figured out the plot really quickly. It was so obvious to a certain extent, at least parts of it, and nobody's investigating a house, for instance. So I found the second half of the movie a lot more frustrating, and as did my wife. With that said, the ending of the movie, we'll call it the revenge ending, kind of reminded me of The Home. It was so over the top and just a blast and really fun to watch and kind of graphic. But the very, very ending of the movie, after that, I found really dissatisfying. After 2 hours, I would have preferred a compact, kind of decisive ending. This one was more left open with this running narration by a child who I would guess was one of the 17 missing child telling the story. So overall, it was good, but it was not great, and it was a disappointment. And that was my feeling on that. So I give that one 3.5 stars, between good and excellent. The first half was really great. So if I was going to rank these, you got The Home with Pete Davidson right there. You got Together, Dave Franco, Alison, Brie. And then you got Weapons from last night. By far, Together was the best of the three. Together was an excellent movie. That's the one I would tell you to go see. It's wild and really good. After that, I would tell you to go see Weapons, even though I found the ending frustrating and the plot holes were gigantic. And then I would go see The Home just because it was a popcorn movie and kind of fun. But don't take it too seriously. Anyway, that's my review. If you saw these movies, let me know what you think. As always, I appreciate you watching the Alan Rosenberg Show. Of course, I do music most of the time, but if you know me, I've been watching horror movies for 50 years, and I knew my horror movies. So this is just my opinion. Got to tell you, my wife totally agreed. So, alrighty. As always, thanks so much. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. Check out my playlist. Most of it is music, but there is some movie reviews as well. And I hope you're having a great day and a good weekend coming up.